So the next one, as promised, we're taking a look at the country that it's next on the list, which is Belgium. I have nothing against people from Belgium, so Belgians, or anything against the country itself. It's just that I had a relatively bad experience in in Belgium. I mean, it was, I think, when I was in my teens, and I went with my parents to do a trip between Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands. And Belgium did not cause the best impression. At the time, I knew a few other countries: France, Portugal, Spain, Andorra, and I'm not sure if I had been to Italy at the time already or to the UK, but Belgium was the one that let me a bit down, especially Brussels. And my recollection of Brussels at that time, and this we can imagine this is still in the 90s, was a very gray city. The food was not good. The um, the weather was terrible, um, and there was nothing beautiful about Brussels specifically. I know there was. We also went around, so we went to Antwerp, which I don't remember, to be honest, and we went to Ghent and to Brugge. And Brugge is actually nicer, or I would say nicer, but still very dark and flimsy, medieval town. So, and then we also were in Liège for some reason. Anyway, it was a big difference to what I saw in the other parts of the country or the trip. Especially Aachen was very nice. Cologne was very nice at the time. Also, of course, Rotterdam, The Hague, and Amsterdam, or mostly Amsterdam, of course. And it just didn't leave a good impression at all. And to be honest, I crossed Belgium a few times with a car. Um, and I also flew a couple of times through Brussels, but I never really returned to stay in the country. And maybe this is something bad, but I also, it's not really a country where there's a lot of investigations or audits, to be honest. And you know, it's kind of a mixture of not being a tremendously or a country in the specter of not of being corrupt. It's not, of course, and also most of the companies nowadays, for good or for worse, try to combine the whole Benelux structure in just one place, and this place more often than not is the Netherlands as the bigger market of the three. Um, so if I cannot really say much. I remember the Mannequin Piston, so the kid that pisses there in the square. It's ridiculously small. That stuff I remember, and I remember that at the time I collected Magic the Gathering cards, and I found some packs from the beta edition, I think, in s- yeah, some place there, and my parents bought it to me. I mean, it was that was a nice experience at the time. I think we were in the fifth edition or so, so it was still early, well, relatively early Magic, especially in Europe. But that's just another story. So more interesting than that is the airline. So I never flew with Sabena, who was the, say, the main airline of Belgium from the 20s until 2001, I believe. Sabena went bankrupt in early 2000s, and I never flew with them, but they were one of these classic airlines um, from Europe or from the world at the time, and with a great history. I remember that, or I know that they had some kind of a deal with Swissair, um, and somehow Swissair did not um, come through with some money that they should have injected in Sabena, and in the end, basically both of them went bankrupt one after the other. Um, then Belgium was without a real carrier for some time, and then they merged with Virgin Express, I think, and they have now the Brussels Airlines company for quite a few years. They're part of the um, Star Alliance with Austrian, Lufthansa, Swiss, Thai, United, etc. And I flew a few times, mostly to Africa with them. They had some nice connections into Congo, especially into Kinshasa or Lubumbashi, and into Rwanda. So basically, the older colonies of Belgium, they are a very good option, and they are quite the good airline, especially in terms of what European carriers have. And I would actually give them a 4 out of 5, especially from my experience. A very nice crew. And this is all that I have to say, unfortunately, about Belgium. I think next episode will be much more interesting because we're going into a paradise destination of Belize, where in this case I was on holiday and not so much on audits or investigations. See you next week.